Okay, let's talk about a number. 20 lakhs. In India, that salary sounds like you've officially made it, right? It's a huge career milestone that promises a certain kind of lifestyle. But what happens when that dream number crashes into the hard reality of taxes and everyday expenses? Well, we're about to find out.
So what does that life actually look like? We're going to compare the lifestyle we all imagine with the one the numbers can truly support. Let's pit the myth against the math. And, what we find might just surprise you.
All right, first up, let's get into the fantasy, because when we hear someone's pulling in 20 lakhs a year, our minds immediately paint a picture. It's a picture that's been fed to us by social media, by movies, by societal expectations. It's the picture of success. And that picture usually looks a little something like this, pulling up in a shiny, high-end luxury car. One that might even cost more than your entire annual salary. It means jetting off to Europe or Thailand every single year. It means owning a gorgeous flat right in the heart of the city, and a social calendar packed with fancy dinners and designer labels. That's the dream, isn't it?
Okay, dream sequence over. Now it's time for a reality check. We're going to put that fantasy aside for a second and just do the math. Let's decode the paycheck and see what we're actually working with here. This is where the story gets really interesting.
So there it is, the big one, 20 lakh rupees per year. On paper, that looks absolutely fantastic. It breaks down to about 1.67 lakh a month before taxes. And as we all know, that little word before is the key word. Because once the tax man comes knocking and all those other deductions take their bite, that big, impressive monthly figure starts to shrink. The number you actually get to build your life with is, it's quite a bit different.
And here it is. The reality, your actual take-home pay is closer to 1.3 lakhs per month. Yeah, that's a drop of almost 40,000 rupees, just gone. This is the crucial point. All of our lifestyle choices, they have to be based on this number, not the fantasy one.
So where does that 1.3 lakh go every month? Well, in a smart, realistic budget, housing in a big city could easily take up 45,000 rupees. Your living expenses, groceries, utilities, transport, that's probably another 30,000. Then, responsible financial planning means putting aside 25,000 for investments in savings and another 20,000 for insurance and building an emergency fund, which leaves you with about 10,000 for everything else, the fun money.
And that brings us to the real heart of this whole thing. When you see that budget laid out, you realize this isn't about making painful compromises, it's about making deliberate, conscious choices. Let's look at exactly what those choices are.
And here's the side-by-side comparison. Clear as day. The fantasy of that 25 lakhs luxury car becomes the reality of a sensible, practical, and perfectly good 8 lakh car. Those annual international trips, they transform into really exciting domestic vacations. And the dream of buying that 1 crore flat gets replaced by the financially sound decision to rent a comfortable home for now.
This quote just perfectly captures the whole mindset. It's not about saying no to everything you want, it's about saying a big yes to your financial security. Every single choice to live below your means isn't a restriction. It's an investment in the person you want to become tomorrow.
So, what's the end game here? Where does all this careful planning lead? Well, it leads to a powerful redefinition of what it actually means to be wealthy. It becomes less about what you spend and way more about what you build. Honestly, this entire philosophy boils down to these 2 simple steps. First, you make conscious, informed choices with your money based on the reality of your take-home pay. And second, as a direct result, you systematically and consistently build real long-term wealth.
So what is the tangible outcome of all these smart choices? What's the actual number? How much are you really building for your future every single month?
Here's the number that matters. Every month, by sticking to this budget, you're putting away a solid 35,000 rupees. That's your 25,000 in dedicated investments and savings, plus another 10,000 being funneled into your emergency fund. This is the real wealth-building engine. And you have to understand, this isn't just some leftover cash. This is your freedom fund. It's the engine of your wealth, working for you in the background, compounding over time, and building a future where your choices are no longer dictated by a monthly paycheck.
And that leaves us with a final big question to think about. Is this disciplined approach the true, honest definition of financial freedom? Or is it just a fancy way of saying delayed gratification? The answer to that, ultimately, is what defines what wealth really means to you.